So we summarized Peter King's Football Morning in America column yesterday about the Vikings and TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill and all the COVID-19 measures that they're putting in place at the team facility. Now, Peter may have inadvertently let some news out of the bag. So this is what he said, quote, in training camp, the 100 club employees who come into daily contact with players, coaches, trainers, staff, service employees, team media people, and 80 players will enter the trailer to undergo the COVID-19 test, end quote. So now, I don't think they meant, because the Vikings have 87 players currently on the 90-man roster, I don't think that 7 players would be exempt. Be like Kirk and a couple of his cronies. They're like, oh, we don't get the Q-tip shoved up our nose. Now, there has been some talk about teams or even the league in general bringing 80 or even 75 players into training camp this season, which for a couple reasons. Now, one, it would help. It would help players spread out more, hence decreasing the chances that coronavirus spreads, blah, blah, blah. Number two, with no OTAs and perhaps no preseason, it's going to be a lot tougher for some of these bottom of the roster type guys to make the team or even the practice squad, as well as number three, starters are going to need as many reps as they possibly can get because, like we said, with no OTAs and limited training camp and no preseason, there's going to be some rust buckets getting out on the field. So you're talking about the quality of the product. Starters as well as high-level contributors are going to have to get as many reps as possible. So there's not going to be a lot of time for guys that are in the 70s, 80s, and even up to 90 on the roster at this point. And as we said, it is the absolute worst off season ever to be a UDFA because they obviously will be the first ones to go. And you do feel bad, especially for some receivers, some cornerbacks that in a normal draft class that probably would have been drafted. But you look at guys like Courtney Davis, probably should have been a 6th or 7th round pick. Neville Clark in that same area. But just because there was such a depth of talent this year at wide receiver and at cornerback, they're not getting drafted, and I think that it may potentially cost them an opportunity to build a career for themselves. I mean, because we've talked about this in the previous video. Like, hell, if the Rona hit in 2013, Thielen may not have even happened because, remember, actually, no, he wouldn't have happened because, remember, he was a UDFA tryout, and those are the jabronis they bring in for a gong show just to have so they can have a full practice at rookie training camp, at rookie mini camp, excuse me. So Thielen wouldn't have had a chance to show up on the practice field if the Rona hit that year. Wouldn't have impressed, wouldn't have been a 90-man roster addition, wouldn't have done all that in training camp, would have eventually made the practice squad. So, man, I mean, just think of how many potential Thielen-esque stories the NFL is going to be missing out just because of this weird year. So it does suck, but it is reality at this point, right? So maybe there will be a formal announcement by the league about reduced rosters. Maybe they'll have a blanket 80-man or 75-man roster around the league, or teams just may sort of do it on their own in an unofficial capacity because a lot of teams right now don't even have 90 men on the 90-man roster. I mean, like we said, the Vikings have 87, or it could be a spot. Since rookies do report a week early, rookies are at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill today, where teams go through the rookies and especially UDFAs as much as they can over a week, send a few of them packing before they bring out all the veterans. The veterans for the Vikings are due to check in TCO next Tuesday, July 28th. And then maybe they'll just sort of artificially bring that number down to 80 by letting go of 7 UDFA rookies or 7 rookies in general. Hell, they got 15 draft picks. Just sort of unofficially letting them go to bring the roster down to 80. But either way, it's interesting caveat. I don't think it was a typo since he's getting that information straight from the source. So you do feel for the players, like even if their chances are relatively remote, but fewer bodies equal less crowding, lower chance of spreading the virus, and also those veterans, just for the sake of quality football, do need as many reps as possible. So it is what it is at this point. So we'll see. But your thoughts? Vikings potentially bringing 80 or fewer players to training camp? Let us know in the comments section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up on the Venmo. Plus give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.